Now
Okay.
we're on again here at the kitchen table. John and Jack Bauer have come over to visit and brought this fancy camera that he has set on a little tripod on the kitchen table. And it just so happens to be May the 24th, which is my brother's birthday. So this morning we called to Brother Ken and sang the old happy birthday tune for his birthday number 66. Anyway, John has asked how did Mother and I meet, and it's a little hazy because it's over 50 years ago, so
What year?
we
What
don't
year do you think?
remember exactly, but Mother thinks it was maybe 1956. And I
Summer?
don't-
Winter?
What month of the year?
May.
May, I
May.
think.
May of 1956.
Yes.
Anyway, at that time, one of my buddies was Frank Bingham, and you kids are all know Frank Bingham at that time.
Well, John wouldn't know him because
I know
Frank
of him.
died before.
No, but you
I know of him, and I
yeah.
remember him. He was in the
Yeah.
wedding.
Yeah. But anyway, Frank was Humberside, I guess, was he?
Mm-hmm.
Frank was Humberside, and the Humberside gang were getting together to go out, and I still don't know to this day how Frank and I got involved in that, or certainly how I got involved in it, but it would seem that the two of us were invited to go to a gathering at a house on the west side of Jane Street, which happened to be your friend Ann's mother's house by the last name of
Millington.
Millington. Yeah.
Jane near what?
Jane, just north of Dundas.
Yeah.
Jane Dundas.
Just a nice little house along that row. Anyway, I don't think that Frank and I initially thought very much about this, but I think he must have talked to me into going.
So it was like a house party? Is that?
Well, no, it was a house gathering. We were
Yeah.
gathering there to go from there to a dance. So,
Up at Mark Kenny's ranch.
yeah, Mark Kenny's Ranch north of Highway 7, which
So-
was quite a ways out of town back in those years.
Yeah. So you met at the house then?
Well, we
Did you go to the barn?
Frank and I, Frank must have talked to me into going because I knew nobody at the group, and Frank knew everybody. I guess he did.
Some better than others.
Some
Certainly that guys, you knew, because they were all a year or two ahead of us.
I see.
Of you.
Anyway, at the last minute, I will say it's a Saturday. I don't remember. Most likely it was a Saturday. Saturday morning or Friday night or something like that, I got a call from Frank, and he said, "I'm not well. I'm sick, and I won't be going to the party. I won't be going." So I said, "Oh, that's fine. Well, I won't bother going either." So I don't remember how it happened or why I changed my mind from that. Maybe Frank did, or I don't know, because I never knew anybody else to talk to. But anyway, I guess I decided to go. So I drove up. I don't know what car I had then. 1956. 1956. Did I have the convertible?
No.
It doesn't matter what car I have. So I drove up and found the place and pulled in, knocked on the door, went in, and met everybody at once, including the gal that was to be my date, which turned out to be this Mary Shepherd.
No, what do you mean by date though?
Well, everybody was in couples. And so I was to be Mary's blind date, and that's what it was. It was a blind date.
So who knew you and Mom? I guess nobody.
Frank.
Frank had already met
Well,
you
yeah, I knew
Or
who
knew
he
you.
was.
through friends, basically. So
Well, through school. He was a couple
Oh,
years
so
ahead
he was
of me.
Humberside. Okay, so he was Humberside, your school. So he knew of you, or you knew of him, or both.
Well,
and
you
he
see, I
was-
was Ann Millington's closest friend.
And which became Ann Wishart.
Yes.
Okay.
And Bill Wishart was in the same year as Frank.
Okay.
A bunch of them were a couple of years ahead of us.
Right.
And
We can't even remember who all the people were. You
No.
thought it was maybe Sue and Jeff Jarvis.
yeah,
Would they have been married then? I doubt it. And who's the other guy? Big Pete.
Pete Cowie and
Big Pete
Mark-
Cowie stood
Mark
about
Gray.
6'2". And Mag, would they be married? Yeah, I don't think anybody
No.
was married in that group yet. No, it was just a gathering of friends.
So in this group, so you knew some of them, but certainly not all.
I knew all of them,
You knew all of them.
yes.
Some better than others.
Some were good friends. Some were just people you knew at the school, I guess.
Oh yeah, maybe better
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But you knew. So what did you thought? Had this happened before? Where you'd have a blind date / meet together
And
all
in
in
fact,
couples?
I was dating somebody else, but it was getting close to the end of the relationship. And
Now-
Anne phoned my mother and said, Mary has to come to this, because I wasn't going to come. And if I came, I was going to bring this Tom. But anyway,
It
Anne...
became Tom Jones, a rather famous person.
Now, okay,
Anne
so
phoned my mother and said,
And
Mary
talked her
has
into
to
it.
come, we've got this extra guy, and there has to be somebody for him, so she's gotta come and she can't bring Tom.
right. Okay, so you get there. Now, let me ask you. Just jump ahead. Did you go to the dance after, or you didn't go to the dance after?
Yeah, we did.
You did
No,
go
the
to-
Went
house
to
was
Mark Kenny's
the
room.
house was just a gathering place.
Right. So you went there, had a drink or two, or whatever you did, and then you went up north. Okay, so
I don't think we had a drink either, but
Well, it was 56.
I'd be 22 years old.
so you were certainly drinking age. Was drinking age 19 back then? Still?
21.
It was 21 back then.
50, something like that. I started work when I was 54, 50, yeah. I'd been working for maybe, I was in my second year of teaching. I think that's what it was. I started in September 54, September 55. Yeah, I was just finishing my second year at teaching at Maple Leaf.
Okay.
I would have been.
So tell us about how you guys started talking and how you ended up, I don't know, exchanging phone numbers or what happened that night. Did anything special happen, or did you start getting closer later on? How did that all work out?
Well, I got things pretty well organized, I think.
Do
You
tell.
laugh. You laugh.
No, I didn't. I didn't know anybody, but it was they did. Yeah, it was Mark Kenny's Ranch, a great big dance floor, and lots of people there. And they did round dancing, and they did square dancing. And I had called square dancing, so I guess we square danced a bit. I don't really remember the details of it. I remember pulling in their place in the car and then leaving in the car, and yeah. I can't even remember what car I had. I could figure it out, but I don't know what it would be now.
Well, we'll look at that another time. But how did
I-
did you guys talk a lot during the evening? Like, how did that all
yeah,
go?
we were together during the evening, and I guess we had fun during the evening. And then this was back in the year before we had Toronto Blue Jays, of course, because that was mid 1970s, 1976. But we're talking in the 50s. And in the 50s, Toronto had the Toronto Maple Leaf ball team in the AAA International League. And I guess a few days after that weekend, my sister's girlfriend's mother offered me a couple of tickets to go and see the Maple Leaf ball team play down at the old Fleet Street Flats, as it was called, along Lake Shore there, at the base of whatever street that was. What would that be going down there?
Bathurst.
Bathurst Lake Shore. Anyway, I'd been there a few times, not many. So
Would that be south of Lakeshore or north?
South.
Of Lakeshore?
South of the
right on the water.
Tip Top Taylor's was
Tip
right
Top
on the
Taylors
corner.
are right on the north side. They
Oh,
were on
yeah.
the south
so
side.
Those are still there then.
No.
Well,
No,
there is a big field there and a couple
No,
small
no.
baseball fields, but
No, not there. There's a gas station there on the corner, and maybe now,
yeah, I know that gas station.
maybe now it's apartment buildings or
Condos.
condos or whatever it
Condos.
is.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I accepted the offer of the 2 tickets, and I phoned up your mother, and I asked her if she would like to go to a ball game. Was she a sports fan? Well, your mother did answer that she was a sports fan. That was a mistake. And did she play ball? Oh yeah, I play ball, and that was another mistake.
I never saw
I don't think
her
Mom
play
would have said
ball,
that.
Ever.
But anyway,
Anyway, so that was our first date as a date, coming after this blind date dance thing.
well, how did the blind date dance thing end? Did you have any sense that you wanted to continue? What sense did you have? Did you make out? Like
John, that
these
was
are things we wanna know.
over 50 years ago, and I couldn't tell you anything about that.
What do you remember, Mom? Anything? Like, do you remember talking to your friends about it? Like, this guy Fred was really
Well, I bet you
cool,
talked.
like-
I bet you talked to Ann Millington after that, dude.
I can remember thinking he was acceptable.
So acceptable. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Acceptable. I was acceptable.
Okay, go on. It's better than unacceptable. All right, so then.
No, I don't know.
So the first day was at the game, which was good. So that went well.
Yeah, I guess so. I thought Mother was interested in sports. And,
I know a
Not
lot
about this?
more about sports than a lot of women,
That's
Fred.
true. So that's
yeah,
good. All right. So
Mother knows more about sports than she lets on to know
yes.
nowadays. She'll come up with some things about the baseball team or the golf or something like that surprises me that she would bother to read it or bother to listen. Anyway,
Did you hear about Mickelson's wife? I guess you did, eh?
Yes,
That's,
isn't that a shame?
Yeah.
so anyway,
It's really hard.
that's the end of episode number 1.
Well, wait. Let's just get a little bit. So, did you get to
Finish.
the point? Well, wait. But did you get to the point where you were starting to date? Like, how long did it take until you were like, were you boyfriend girlfriend? Like, how did it kind of evolve
We were
after the
friends.
first date?
No, I just thought I'd like to take her to the ball game.
Okay, but after the ball game and
I don't
the
remember.
days or weeks or months after that, how did it start to evolve to the point where you were, I guess, dating or like, because it wasn't that long. If it was May '56 and you got married in July '58, it was
2
only
years.
it was only 26 months later
Yeah.
that you got married. So when do you remember when you got engaged?
November of 1957.
Right. So it was about a year and a half after you, a little less than a year and a half after you met.
Did we meet in 55? No, it was 56.
I don't remember what year it is. Mother thinks this story we've just told occurred in May of 1956.
Didn't you help me with the driving? Remember I was going to be going out
Yeah.
west to Hughes?
When was that?
And that was in the summer of 56. Or was it 57? No, I went to Europe in 56 with my mother for 9 weeks.
And what months were that?
That was July and August.
This was after you met Dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't doing anything steady at that time. Mother disappeared all that summer.
Right.
I went to Mac with Frank to take university courses at University of McMaster
In the summer.
in the summer. Yeah,
Okay.
6 weeks.
So do you remember a time when you started to date, like somewhat regularly? Do you remember anything about that?
That must have been then in the fall of that year, I guess.
We wrote a little bit back and forth while I was in Europe.
Well, that's nice.
Postcard or whatever, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I know it was a long time ago. I know.
Yeah.
But
That's enough. We're